What is going on, folks? I am Goat. Welcome back to Warframe. We are here to talk about Koumei and her weapons, the Hagasa and the fuck me running. I can't even remember the name of the Aminata. So you can see the shards I've got on her. I'm gonna be honest; they're probably gonna come off of her. Okay. I was trying to play to what I thought might work pretty well for her, and it's a thing. So one thing Koumei really wants, at least for my comfortable benefit, is a little bit of health, okay? And we'll get into that. And max energy so you can just start any fucking mission by throwing out some abilities and just getting the hell after things, especially if you're playing on the decree side of this frame. Yes, Koumei is the gambler frame. She's the chance frame, and honestly, this is where I have a massive problem with her. There is ways to... I mean, I know it's Koumei and the Five Fates. I understand. It's all dice rolls. It's all points of chance, okay? But, man, you know, the fact that there is such a criteria as having multiple dice rolls hit really hard in order for her to be grandly successful at things is a bit of a problem for me because it makes the gameplay a little too much gameplay. So, Koumei's passive, and yes, I'm lit up over here because I've got all of the fucking decrees. So, this one fits to her first ability. Okay? So this one fits to her first ability on the basis that every 60 seconds, one of Koumei's weapons will inflict random status effects. As of yet, I haven't really been able to tell if there's such a thing as a marker other than seeing the damage that you're inflicting to enemies. But it just starts, one of your weapons randomly will just start randomly applying random status effects. So, yeah. As of yet, it's always been the one that I've been using, but I don't know if that's always going to be the case because, I mean, we know how things are kind of always subject for change here. So it's an interesting thing because it plays into kind of what her first ability does and what her fourth ability does, which is really strange. So her first ability is basically you weave the threads of destiny. Not really. You basically set up a bunch of like status lines, and the colors are basically based on whatever damage they're doing. So you have no control over what types of damage they are. They are purely random, and I'm fine with that. That's game of chance to me. But the more dice, the better the dice roll, the better the damage. Okay? Why not, instead of make this such a fucking stupid battle, to pray like fuck that you get a good dice roll, why not just give us a static number? Static multiplier, like you would with any other fucking frame in this game, and make it to where we're not playing a fucking guessing game on this shit, so we could really, kind of go, okay, well, I know what this is going to do. No, see, we think we know what this is going to do. This is almost solely for bottleneck use, by the way. Bottleneck or trapping. What I mean by that is that this doesn't affect enemies, like unlike Kalervo's Storm of Ukko, for example, which is an area of effect that you can just drop on top of enemies. You can drop this on top of enemies, but all they gotta do is walk the fuck away and it's standard status duration at that point. This isn't like some crazy amount of OP damage unless you roll 5 6s. Then all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's game on. They're getting fucked up. It's a good time, because that's massive damage multiplier. Because that's what that damage is if you roll 5 6s, that's what your damage multiplier is for each one of these threads that they walk into. But the enemies have to walk through them, or you have to cast them on top of the enemies, one of the two. This one, Amakuji, however the hell you pronounce this. I'm sorry if I'm butchering that. So you get a 15% chance to pop a rare decree. Here's the thing, you have to roll at least 3 6s to not have to do a challenge for this shit. Now, if you're okay with doing challenges while you're in the middle of running Steel Path missions, God be with you. That's great. I can tell you, the way I've got her built is completely survivable. You can take out acolytes. She's primarily a weapons platform with a little bit of CC function. Is what it is. Sorry. But that's primarily how I have her built because it's the best function for her, truthfully. But if you are fine with doing challenges to get decrees, great. There's a couple of problems with this. One, yes, it is the majority of the decrees that I'm seeing on the update, some of which are especially good. You know, like Shattering Frost, Duelist Advantage, Vicious Barb, Irresistible Bombardment, Majestic Strike, Critical Roll, Greedy Heal, Bombastine's Malice, Critical Frost, Smoldering Strike, Twofold Torment. I'm just written, this isn't all of them. Envious Economy, I think, well, Blazing Bombardment, Corrosive Grit, depending on how your weapons are built, Wormling's Aid, and a whole slew of others. But those are, you know, like, those kind of fall into that category of some of those are the more rare decrees. So you gotta you got a pretty low percentage of getting a rare decree every time you cast this, and you can only cast it every 150 seconds. Unlucky rolls add a debuff, but you can hold the ability to reject, but it still has a 150-second cooldown. If you don't like it and you decline it, you have to wait 150 seconds to even do this again. This is way too long, okay? That is crazy. Like, even if it's a matter of doing challenges, so be it. But that cooldown is ridiculous, okay? So the Amamori. So this one, again, is very much based on, you get so many of these for however many fucking dice you roll. You do get a health multiplier for when this thing heals you, so that's cool. I do like that. Shiv does make her pretty damn survivable. I will say that. There's a very, very minimal cooldown. Fine with that, too. And the number of these things surrounding you is solely based around the dice you roll. And these little bastards give you a 50% dodge chance, and they, you know, might attack enemies. Notice, there's no, like, hey, it's gonna, you know, do this kind of damage. It just, you know, basically says, each with a chance to have enemy attacks heal you instead of damage you. Well, I'm sorry, I actually read that wrong. It's not meant to attack people. It's just, there's a chance for these things to basically heal you instead of let you take damage. Either way, they work. This ability here, the Marionette ability, the Bunraku or whatever. So basically you cast this and you make some creepy looking marionettes out of any non-overguarded, non-CC immune enemy. And the better the dice roll, the more statuses per enemy, random statuses per enemy will be afflicted. This is functional up until the point that anything with overguard shows up, or anything that is CC immune shows up, and then it's completely fucking useless. Basically, she's got one really good ability, one could be good ability, one for trap farming, bottlenecking, things like that, and then this one is just like, okay, I could just kill the trash mobs just as easy as I could just sitting here blasting them with random statuses. Either way, the build is this. And I can tell you, this is very, very, very survivable for very casual gameplay, okay? It is. But, like, you can get really spam happy with her first ability and her fourth ability. So, this is kind of one of those, like, especially if you're trying to force enemies into these strings, then yeah, you could get very spam happy. So having something like Equilibrium on here is pretty fucking handy. I definitely would not recommend doing Equilibrium shards on here, just because personally I don't even feel like this frame is, she's fitting into the realm of Caliban for me, okay? Pre-buffed Caliban, which we'll get into that, but not in this video, but we will get into it. Overall, she's fine, okay? She's not great. She's not horrible. She's playable. If you're having fun with her, I don't want you to take this video as me saying she's a piece of dog shit, because she's absolutely not. There's just a lot of goofiness to this frame. Enough so that I'm not even going to play her, okay? Like, her, reading off her abilities should be more than enough. So we're going to go to the Hagasa. Now, the Hagasa is a very interesting umbrella rifle, okay? It's a burst rifle. It has some very interesting functions as far as basically when you go ADS or aim down sights, you pop out this little electro shield umbrella, and for every strike that that thing takes, or every kill that, for every strike that that thing takes, or every kill that you get, you build up an alternate fire. The alternate fire is something. So we're going to look at the build. No, we're not going to do that. We're going to look at the build. So the charge for this thing takes for fucking ever. The fire rate is very slow, but it's a singular beam of doom, and it does blast damage. It does a really, really decent amount of base damage. And as you can see, I'm running the new augment mod that came with the Saya's, or that comes with the Saya's Vision mission little node that you can buy it. So this is the build that I've kind of settled with. Okay, and I do say settled with loosely because you could go with not running Hagasa Serration, okay? Truth be told, you can. And you can drop 100 munitions over here, move vital sense up there, up to that spot, take that motherfucker off, run like, you know, primary deadhead or primary merciless, either way. And then you could do something like a cold mod, or a heat mod, and give yourself more status and more damage and so on and so forth. Overall, I mean, it's based 24% both directions, or both damage types. I've got 4 former wrapped up into it, and honestly, I'm not going to put anything else into this damn thing because it's okay. For the basis of okay, we'll do the level 225 heavy gunners. Okay. So this is with Death Cube helping boost this. This is shooting them in the face. Now the beauty is that this alt fire will charge up, okay, especially in missions because people are going to be shooting at you. Now, thanks to the arcane that I'm running, I'm now doing more damage, which is good. Okay, now we have an alt fire. Kind of a bit of a letdown in it. But see, we're committed at this point. Oh yes, these are high armor enemies. Personally, if you're going to do something using this gun, I would probably run something like extra corrosive shards or build it for corrosive damage. And then use corrosive shards because of its alt fire having blast, that could become very, very advantageous to really mop some enemies up. I missed. Oh, there's one poor motherfucker. Bye. That's the Hagasa. It's okay. It's not OP. It's not dog shit. It's just kind of meh. It's got some function. But the Hagasa Serration mod is really interesting because it gives you, like, just for example, it is a normal Serration mod, but it is way more buffed. So your standard Serration mod gives you 165% damage. This bitch gives you 450% damage. Now, to math this out for you, you have to understand Serration is an additive base damage mod. So if you run something like Primary Merciless or Primary Deadhead, that's going to give you 360 points of built-up damage either by 3 kills with Deadhead shooting, getting 3 headshot kills, or 12 overall kills with Merciless. That's 360 points. This will actually outweigh what those do. So using those, you're only getting the secondary benefits. So with Merciless, all you're getting is better reload speed. With Deadhead, you get a headshot multiplier and you get minus recoil. If that suits you, that's fine. A rank 3 primary plated round gives you increased base damage per round loaded based on max magazine size, lasts for 6 seconds. Hence why I was doing more damage for a short period of time. Personally, found that works okay. But using an additive arcane, unless you just really like the extra benefits from something like Deadhead, because this thing definitely wants to shoot people in the head, because it's the best way to kill stuff anyway. So I could see somebody using something like Deadhead, but you just have to understand that if you're going to run this mod, it's going to outshine the damage output side of whatever fucking primary arcane that you're going to stick on that comes from an Acolyte. Dexterity is the only weird one, and that's because that buffs into melee, so it's whatever. Overall, this weapon is not horseshit. It's just not really amazing. Now, the Aminata is a little bit interesting, okay? You'll see I'm not even really done. I've got 2 Forma in it. Melee Crescendo is actually because of the Aminata pressure, because obviously, just like Serration, with the gun, this takes the place of pressure point or, you know, prime pressure point or sacrificial pressure. You can't put a different one on. This gives more damage because just like with Serration, prime pressure point gives you 165, if I remember right, 165% base damage. Yeah, 165. This bitch gives you 330. Pretty good. But as you can see, when the combo multiplier reaches 8 times, heavy attacks apply random status effects to enemies. This plays into the 1 and the 4 of Koumei. So having Melee Crescendo, especially a max one, builds up to where you can very easily maintain that combo and constantly heavy attack and do a bunch of random status effects to help just whittle enemies down to like a piece of wheat, basically. Overall, its base damage is not insanely great. It's not really bad. I mean, like, it's 126. With no extra modding of anything, it's a 24 crit, 24 stat, 2 multiplier, just like the gun. But overall, it's not bad. I mean, like, it's okay. It's not the worst damn thing you can see in the world. It is a polearm with kind of a crappy stance. I don't really like Bleeding Willow, personally. And like it boogers him up. So here. There, we got magnetic on there now. It does a thing, right? It's got a quirky little thing. Kind of a standard little build, though. Granted, I have Gladiator Might on here, or Gladiator Vice instead of Might, because I wanted a little faster attack speed out of it. Still getting the same function as what Gladiator Might would do, except just less critical damage. You do you on that one. I can wholly understand if you do, you know, Gladiator Might instead of Vice. Kind of is what it is. I mean, like, it works. It really does. It works. It's fine. I will say this, though. In the grand scheme of the frames that have released as of yet, Corvex is better than this. And it wholly and solely comes down to the gambling aspect of this, okay? Well, 2 things. The timer, the cooldown timer on the second ability is atrocious. Okay, it's fucking horrible. So, I'm not a fan. For 2, the random chance, and I understand it's the whole 5 fates thing, so you're rolling 5 dice. Every single time you cast a fucking ability, you're rolling 5 damn dice. If you get 3 of them, you get bonus stuff. But Most of the time, you're not popping threes, or 3 6s, okay? You're just not. You're getting like 1s and 2s and 3s and hell, even 5s. It's whatever. I get the premise, but the follow through of actually having to gamble just to use abilities is kind of poop, okay? Just being honest here, okay? It's kind of dog shit. So, yeah, that's just my personal opinion. But on that note, this is what I got for Koumei. Truthfully, if you're having fun with her, I'm glad, because I can see and have used her, and I understand it, right? Like, I fully understand how much fun she is and how survivable she can be. But it's just annoying to know that you can put so much into her and get so little out of her. That's really kind of where I'm at. It's like you get so much, you put so much effort in shards and modding and everything else, and all it takes is one bad dice roll on an ability cast, and all for naught. So it's just really fucking annoying. I think if the dice were not in the equation and it was just static ability function, I would live with either subsuming over the decrees and just rolling with something else to help boost me, or roll with it as it is and just never use the second, just use the second ability for fun, you know? Because you don't really need to subsume anything on her unless there's an ability you don't like. That's just my take. She's aight. Her gun is aight. Her melee is pretty good, but it's aight. Like, there's better pole arms in the game. The Guando Prime is 10 times this thing. So, y'all take it for what it is, and I want to thank you very much for watching. As always, we'll catch you in the next one, all right?